welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going behind the scenes of the historic East Baltimore Community Action Coalition.
Okay.
Or HEBCAC, as most people know it.
Right.
You want to understand how they work?
Sure.
Well, we're about to unlock that mystery using their bylaws.
Yeah.
Think of it as the organization's DNA.
It's more than just rules. You know,
Uh-oh.
these bylaws show us what HEBCAC values,
Mm-hmm.
how they approach tough problems, and how important community is to them.
Okay, so Article 2 lays out the mission.
Right.
And it's all about teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
Neighborhood groups, businesses, even giants like Johns Hopkins and Baltimore City all joining forces.
Yeah.
Imagine that
Yeah.
HEBCAC knows that lasting change doesn't come from just one place. It takes different viewpoints and everyone sharing responsibility.
That's the idea.
Okay, so let's talk about where HEBCAC operates.
Okay.
Article 3 gets specific naming streets like Fayette North Avenue, even Edison Highway as boundaries.
Right.
Sounds pretty territorial, right?
It is.
Yeah.
But here's the twist.
Okay.
Those boundaries are more like guidelines.
Oh, really?
It's not a hard line in the sand.
So they could tackle issues outside those streets.
That's the idea.
Wow.
It suggests they're adaptable, willing to go where the needs are not, just stick to a map.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, who's actually making the decisions?
Right.
Article V introduces the board of directors,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a mix of folks, right?
Right. You got people appointed from big institutions like
Yeah.
Johns Hopkins, Baltimore City, and the state.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority, 12 out of 16, are elected straight from the community.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah,
They really prioritize community representation, huh?
they do.
But it makes me wonder if it's truly representative of all community voices or
Yeah.
just the loudest ones.
That's a really insightful question.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the complexities of community representation.
Okay.
While the elected board members aim to voice community concerns, ensuring every voice is heard requires ongoing dialogue and engagement.
I guess that's where active community participation comes in, right?
Exactly.
Getting your voice heard and all that.
It highlights how important it is for residents to be engaged,
Mm-hmm.
to attend those board meetings, and to make their perspectives known.
All right, so this board isn't just a social club.
No.
Article V says they have a ton of responsibilities.
Right.
Program oversight, managing finances, even taking a stance on public issues affecting the community.
Mm-hmm.
They do a lot more than just meet and greet.
And let's not forget their role in hiring and overseeing the executive director,
Oh, right.
the person running HEBC's daily operations.
Absolutely.
It's a big responsibility.
Speaking of responsibility, they're also tasked with fundraising.
Right.
I mean, how do you make an impact without the resources to back it up?
That's spot on.
Yeah.
It underlines HEBCAC's proactive approach.
Okay.
They're not just waiting for funds to appear. They're actively seeking them out to drive positive change.
So we've got this powerhouse board,
We do.
but even they need support, right? That's where committees come in.
Exactly.
And Article 8 introduces us to the executive committee, which acts like a mini board.
Yeah.
It's interesting how they've created this structure within a structure.
And for good reason.
Okay.
This executive committee allows for quick decisions between the larger board meetings,
Yeah.
which can sometimes be few and far between.
Right.
Think of them as the rapid response team, keeping things moving smoothly.
So they're the ones keeping the wheels turning.
That's right.
That makes sense. Then you've got your other standing committees, like the board nominating committee.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that really caught my eye, the Audit and Finance Committee.
The guardians of financial responsibility,
Yeah.
making sure everything is above board, quite literally.
And you know what I love?
What's that?
They're specifically tasked with ensuring HEBCAC sticks to its budget. Talk about accountability, right? It's like they're saying, we're committed to using these funds wisely and transparently.
That's a powerful message.
Yeah.
And it's crucial for building trust within the community.
Uh-huh.
When people see that their contributions are being managed responsibly,
Right.
it strengthens their faith in the organization.
It's all about that transparency.
It is.
Now, how do these folks actually make decisions?
Yeah.
Because Article 8 delves into the voting process, and it seems pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Simple majority rules.
Well, almost.
Okay.
They have this thing called a quorum,
Uh-huh.
which means a significant majority of the board needs to be present for a vote to count.
Oh, okay.
It prevents just a handful of members from making major decisions for the entire organization.
So they thought about that, huh?
They did.
But what about those time-sensitive issues? You
Right.
can't always wait for everyone to gather for a meeting.
You're right, and they've got a plan for that too.
Okay.
Voting outside regular meetings is allowed, but here's the key. Every single vote has to be recorded in writing.
Like a paper trail.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Transparency in action.
Okay.
It ensures accountability and allows anyone to see exactly how decisions were made.
Right.
It's all about keeping things open and honest.
I like that.
Yeah.
Like they're saying, we've got nothing to hide.
Exactly.
Now, this next bit really piqued my interest. Director's emergy.
Okay.
Article 9X explains how board members who have finished their terms can stick around in an advisory role.
Yeah.
Now, why would they do that?
Well, think about it.
Okay.
Experience is invaluable, right?
Yeah.
These directors emeriti act as a sort of brain trust,
Uh-huh.
offering their wisdom and insights based on their time on the board.
Okay.
It's a brilliant way to maintain continuity and tap into that institutional knowledge.
So it's like having a built-in team of mentors
Yes.
who know the ins and outs of HEBCAC.
That's right.
That's a pretty cool concept.
It is. And it highlights HEBCAC's commitment to learning from its past while looking toward the future.
Speaking of leadership, let's move on to the specific roles within HEBCAC.
Okay.
Article 7 outlines the responsibilities of the president, vice president, secretary, and the ever-important treasurer.
Right.
Now, these sound like your typical leadership positions, right?
They do, but let's zoom in on the treasurer for a second.
Okay.
Their role is more than just handling money.
Mm-hmm.
It's about ensuring financial accountability.
Right.
They're the ones preparing reports, keeping the board informed about HEBCAC's financial health,
Mm-hmm.
and working closely with that audit and finance committee we talked about earlier.
So they're the ones making sure the numbers add up, that the money is being used wisely,
Yes.
and that everything is transparent. They're like the financial superheroes of HEBCAC.
You could say that, and their role is absolutely crucial to maintaining public trust
Right.
and ensuring that HEBCAC remains a responsible steward of community resources.
Okay, we've covered the board, the committees, the voting process.
Right.
But there's one key player we haven't talked about yet, the executive director.
Right. Article X lays out their responsibilities.
Uh-huh.
And it's clear they're the ones in the trenches handling the day-to-day operations of HEBCAC.
They're the ones putting the board's vision into action, right?
That's right.
Overseeing staff managing programs and making sure everything runs smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
They're like the conductor of the HEBCAC orchestra.
That's a fantastic analogy.
Yeah.
They're bringing all the different parts together to create a harmonious whole.
Uh-huh.
They're responsible for translating the big picture goals into concrete actions that benefit the community.
So to sum it up so far, we've got this incredibly structured organization with checks and balances,
We do.
a clear focus on community involvement,
Yeah.
and a dedication to transparency and accountability.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive, right?
It really is, and it makes you appreciate the level of thought and care that
Yeah.
went into creating these bylaws.
Yeah.
They've clearly laid out a framework for effective and ethical community action.
Absolutely. And it makes you realize that these bylaws aren't just some dry, dusty document.
They're the foundation for real impactful work in the community.
Okay, so we've seen how HEBCAC is structured, but let's talk about their reach.
Okay.
Article 3 mentioned those geographic boundaries,
Right.
but we also learned they're not set in stone.
Right.
I'm curious, are there any real-world examples of HEBCAC venturing beyond those boundaries?
That's a great question, and yes, there are.
Okay.
For instance, a few years back, a neighboring community was facing a severe shortage of affordable housing.
Oh, how?
HEBCAC, recognizing the interconnectedness of these issues,
Right.
stepped in to offer their expertise and resources, even though it wasn't technically within their defined area.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of their adaptability.
It is.
It seems like they're truly committed to addressing community needs wherever they arise.
They are.
But let's get back to the bylaws themselves.
Okay.
There's this section, Article 11, that seems a bit obvious.
Yeah.
It's called compatibility with state law.
Ah, yes. That one always makes me chuckle a bit. It basically states that if there's ever a conflict between HEBC's bylaws
Right?
and the laws of the state of Maryland, guess who wins?
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say state law.
You got it.
Okay.
It's like a little reminder that HEBC's, despite its strong community focus,
Yeah.
still operates within a larger legal framework.
Makes sense. You can't exactly go rogue even if you have the best intentions, right?
Exactly. It's about accountability and legitimacy.
Yeah.
It demonstrates that HEBC respects the rule of law and operates transparently.
Speaking of transparency, Article 9X mentions something called directors emeriti.
Right.
Now, we touched on this earlier,
We did.
but I'd love to dive a little deeper.
Okay.
What kind of advisory role do these former board members play?
Yeah.
Are they like the wise elders of HEBCs? Offering sage advice from the sidelines?
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
They're a bit like mentors or even a sounding board for the current board.
Okay.
They bring a wealth of experience and historical context to the table, which can be incredibly valuable when tackling new challenges or revisiting old ones.
So it's not just about their expertise, it's about their understanding of HEBCAC's past
Right.
and how that informs the present, right?
Precisely, they can offer insights into past successes and failures,
Right.
which can help the current board navigate complex situations and make more informed decisions.
That's amazing.
It is.
It's like they've built this system of continuous learning and improvement into their structure.
That's right.
Okay, so we've explored the framework, the leadership, the decision-making process, but what about the actual work?
Right.
How does HEBCAC translate all of this into tangible action within the community?
Or remember those board responsibilities outlined in Article V.
Right.
Overseeing programs, managing finances, formulating positions on public issues.
Right.
Those are all essential components of HEBCAC's community impact.
Right. But can you give us some concrete examples?
Sure.
Like what kind of programs are we talking about? What are some of the public issues they've taken a stance on?
Absolutely. One of HEBCAC's key areas of focus is youth development.
Okay.
They run after-school programs, mentorship initiatives, and even job training programs for young people in the community.
That's fantastic. Empowering the next generation.
Right, exactly. They've also been vocal advocates for affordable housing, advocating for policies that support the development of affordable housing units and working to prevent displacement of longtime residents.
So they're not just providing services, they're also actively shaping the policies that impact the community. That's impressive.
It is, and it highlights their understanding that lasting change requires both direct service and systemic advocacy.
Okay, so we're seeing the bigger picture now.
Yeah.
It's not just about board meetings and committees. It's about using that structure to make a real difference in the lives of people in East Baltimore.
Right.
But how can our listeners, the people who are actually living in this community, get involved with HEBCAC?
Well, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
These bylaws, by emphasizing transparency and community involvement, actually provide a roadmap for engagement.
So they're not just rules, they're a guidebook for community action.
You got it.
Wow.
Want to know how decisions are made?
Yeah.
Attend a board meeting.
Okay.
Concerned about a specific issue?
Uh-huh.
Reach out to your elected board member.
Right.
Have some free time and a desire to make a difference.
Yeah.
Volunteer with one of their programs.
So it's all about knowing your rights, understanding the structure, and using that knowledge to make your voice heard. That's empowering.
Absolutely. And it reinforces the idea that HEBCAC isn't some distant entity.
Right.
It's a community-driven organization that relies on active participation.
And that brings us back to the importance of those elected board members, right?
Exactly.
They're the direct link between the community and HEBCAC's decision-making process.
They're the ones responsible for representing the community's needs and concerns,
Right.
ensuring that those voices are heard and taken into consideration. But remember, their effectiveness depends on the community's active participation.
It's a two-way street.
It is.
You can't just elect someone and expect them to do all the work.
Right.
You have to stay engaged, informed, and involved.
That's right.
So let's say someone is interested in getting more involved with HEBCAC. Where should they start?
Well, their website is a great resource.
Okay.
It has information about upcoming meetings, current initiatives, volunteer opportunities, and even contact information for the board members.
So you're saying that taking the time to understand these bylaws, even just a little bit, can actually empower people to become active participants in shaping their community. That's pretty cool.
It really is, and it highlights the power of knowledge.
Yeah.
And how understanding the inner workings of organizations like HEBCAC can open doors to meaningful engagement.
It's like demystifying the process, making it less intimidating and more accessible.
Exactly.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, from the structure of HEBCAC to their impact on the community and how listeners can get involved.
We have.
But is there anything else in these bylaws that stands out to you?
You know, there's one more thing I want to touch on.
Okay.
It's something that's not explicitly stated in the bylaws, but it's woven throughout the document. The spirit of collaboration was from the very beginning, with their mission statement emphasizing partnerships.
Okay.
To the structure of the board, which brings together representatives from diverse sectors, to their approach to problem solving, which emphasizes shared responsibility.
Right.
It's clear that HEBCAC believes in the power of working together.
That's a really insightful observation.
Thank you.
It's like collaboration is the underlying principle that guides everything they do.
Exactly, and it's a powerful message for all of us.
Yeah.
It reminds us that we can achieve so much more when we work together, when we pool our resources, and when we approach challenges with a shared sense of purpose.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Thank you.
It's a reminder that community isn't just a place.
Right.
It's a process.
It is.
And HEBCAC, with its bylaws as a guiding force, seems to embody that process perfectly. So we've spent this deep dive really getting to know the inner workings of HEBCAC.
We have.
But what does it all mean for you, our listener?
It means you're not just a bystander. By understanding these bylaws, you're equipped to participate in HEBCAC's work.
Okay.
Imagine going to a meeting, not feeling lost, but knowing how things operate. You can have input.
Right.
That's power.
Exactly. It's like you've unlocked a secret level in a video game, right?
It is.
Now you know the rules, you know the players, and you can start making moves.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond just attending meetings, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You can connect with your elected board member.
Right.
Volunteer for a program that resonates with you.
Yeah.
Or even donate to support their initiatives.
And even if you're not ready to jump in with both feet, just staying informed is a form of engagement.
Right.
You can track their progress, see how they're addressing issues you care about, and hold them accountable.
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
Accountability is a two-way street.
Okay.
HEBCAC is accountable to the community.
Right.
But the community also has a responsibility to stay engaged and informed.
It's like a partnership, right?
It is.
Working together to create positive change. And it all starts with understanding the foundation, which is what we've been exploring today.
Precisely, these bylaws, while they might seem dry at first glance, are actually a blueprint for community empowerment.
Okay.
They provide a framework for collective action, for ensuring that community voices are heard and that resources are used responsibly.
So to wrap this up, we've journeyed through the ins and outs of HEBCAC's bylaws.
We have.
We've seen how they prioritize transparency, community involvement, and accountability. We've explored the roles of the board, the committees, the executive director.
And most importantly, we've seen how understanding these bylaws can empower you, our listener, to become an active participant in shaping the future of East Baltimore.
So are you ready to take the plunge? Check out their website, find a meeting, reach out to a board member. Who knows, you might even end up on the board yourself someday, helping to guide HEBCAC's work.
And that's the beauty of community organizations like HEBCAC.
Yeah.
They provide a platform for anyone, regardless of their background, to make a difference.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into HEBCAC. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep making a difference.